We're living on the edge on this week's edition of the Blitz. From edge pass rushers to edge pass protectors. Next. We're many weeks into this season of the Blitz. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans, but the offseason officially starts on Monday. It is here. And the draft, of course, just a week and a half away. It'll be a different offseason, but we're ready to go. And let me tell you, Kyle, this big green NFL draft scouting notebook, it is beginning to really fill up now. I'm falling in love with players by the night, it seems like.
Who's your pet cat? Who are you going with?
Well, I may reveal that over the course of the next half hour. And, of course, Kyle's been on this draft preparation for months now, right?
Trying to. Getting closer. That's the thing is these final couple weeks, one, it's lying season. Everybody lies to everybody in the NFL right around this time. And then also it's nervous season because you're starting to get right down to those final couple days.
How nervous were you the night before the first practice when you used to play football back at Waco Midway High School?
Oh, definitely. There was those butterflies. There was all sorts of things. And hey, we're getting close to that time for the Cowboys too.
All right, and it is off-season conditioning time, but it's a little bit different. Of course, last year was really different. It was all virtual last year, and the NFL has laid out some guidelines this past week as far as this offseason goes. Now, whether the players participate or not, it's all voluntary, right?
All voluntary except for the mandatory June minicamp. So overall, the NFL offseason very much so a virtual offseason, much like really we anticipated, and especially in that first phase. No on-field work will be permitted up until May 14th. That's really what the NFLPA has wanted for quite some time. The Players Association being very vocal about how they want a virtual offseason. They don't necessarily want to put their players in any kind of dangers, of course, their families with this ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. But overall, this is an advantage, I think, with these phases to these teams with better situations with their facilities.
And that would be the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
And in fact, there's a number of Cowboy players, of course, who live here in the offseason. It is very easy for Dak Prescott and crew to come up here to the Star and work out.
No doubt. And actually, prior to the NFLPA releasing statements on the virtual offseason, the Cowboys sat atop the list in terms of players that had been in the facility to work out. They were above the Broncos, who were, of course, very vocal in a statement released by their players to the Players Association. I think overall the Cowboys are in a very good situation whenever it comes to this virtual offseason, especially under Mike McCarthy.
All right, still some comings and goings as far as free agency goes. Not a lot right now, but the significant one as far as the Cowboys are concerned this past week. Aldon Smith has found a new home with the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, Aldon Smith is a loss, I think, on the edge spot. Now, he did have the 5 sacks last year, all of that coming within the first 4 games. He didn't have a single sack in the final 12 games of the season. This means more snaps for Randy Gregory, and I think this was an expected move. We didn't necessarily think Aldon Smith was going to be around, and Seattle, a team that was very interested in Aldon Smith during the NFL trade deadline last season, was the team that ultimately raised their hands and got up there. Randy Gregory, though, just 28 years old, played really well down the stretch. I don't think the Cowboys are really going to miss Aldon Smith all that much.
And, of course, they also picked up Terrell Basham in free agency, and who knows what the Cowboys will do in the draft when it comes to edge rushers. We discuss that with Rob Phillips when we come back on The Blitz. We got a big show ahead.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz is brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys. And by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Tour AT&T Stadium, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Tours are available daily. For details, visit attstadium.com/tours. This segment is brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to the Blitz, your Dallas Cowboys report. Bill Jones now joined by Rob Phillips of DallasCowboys.com as we explore those on the edge of the Cowboys defense, meaning edge rushers, and how this team sets right now, and how important is that position when it comes to the draft, which is now fast approaching. It's always important to get edge rushers, but let's look at what the Cowboys currently have on their roster right now. And of course, it all starts with DeMarcus Lawrence, who has been manning that left side for a while now, and that's a good place to start.
Absolutely. DeMarcus Lawrence, to me, Bill, is the heart and soul of this defense. He's the guy that when things weren't going well, and they weren't going well at all for most of last season, called things out in the media, and things picked up. They got better as the season went on. I think his production is better than what the sacks say. And look, you always want more sacks, especially, look, he's got a major contract. I think adding more pieces opposite him would help him. But the run stuffing, you see some of the work he's doing there, just the intensity he brings to the game. I think he's a foundational piece still for this team going forward. And adding more help around him should only make him better.
And another thing that's going to be very interesting with DeMarcus Lawrence is how will he be used under Dan Quinn? Will they move him around a little bit? Because traditionally that strong side defensive end, the guy on the left side, doesn't get as many sacks, especially with the quick passing game that's prevalent in the NFL. Now the other guy on the other side, of course, Aldon Smith is now signed with Seattle. Randy Gregory, a lot of eyes on Randy Gregory that maybe he'll be able to put a full season together.
Jerry Jones kind of hinted at it late in the season that, look, give him some more snaps, and he only got about 30 average last season. That was going to go up whether Aldon Smith was back or not. This seals it. With Smith going to Seattle, I think you're going to see him potentially as a full-time starter. If not, he's going to get a lot of snaps. He's better against the run than he gets credit for because he's kind of known as that bendy edge rusher, but he's going to get a lot of opportunity. There's no question about that. They added a piece alongside him on the right side. But this is his chance. This is his chance to be a breakout player for the first time since he was drafted, 6 years ago?
Well, and here's the thing. You've got to have depth at the edge rusher position. You'd love to rotate guys in to keep guys fresh. How do you think the Cowboys stack up with the addition of Terrell Basham in free agency and, of course, Dorrance Armstrong going into his 4th year in the league now?
It remains to be seen. You know, Basham, they really liked him coming out of the draft, and he fits their idea of free agency, a young player who may, with more opportunity, be able to step up and be productive. They love his motor. They think he can be good against the run. I keep saying that because that was a problem for the defensive line, not just edge rusher, but inside. They think he can be a complete player. So fix him, put him in part of the rotation, maybe take some of the snaps Gregory had last year, 30 snaps a game, we'll see. And you've got Armstrong, you hope he comes along. But the depth there overall, it's not a super deep group when you look at it.
Well, and when you look at this draft, there hasn't been a lot of talk about guys that are edge rushers who have projected to go in the top 10. Now, we'll see. There could be some surprises along the way, although I think there is some decent talent there. But the key in the draft with edge rushers is, like with many other positions, if you don't get them in the first or the second round, they're harder to come by later in the draft.
Right, and people said Taco Charlton was a bust. Well, he was almost a second-round pick. He was a late first-round pick, and you're right. If you are an elite prospect at that position, it is so important. That's why you always say it's a need. Then you're going to go in the top 10. And I don't know if there is a top 10, top 15 prospect this year. Kwity Paye of Michigan has been. He is a great name. He's been mocked to the Cowboys. I've seen it a couple times at 10. We don't know what the Cowboys are going to do. Cornerback has always been the popular one, but you're right. Even defensive tackle, edge rusher, defensive tackle, there are talented players in this draft, but I don't know how deep and how dynamic a class it is this year.
Kwity Paye, the Big Green Notebook says he is a Brandon Graham type player out of Michigan. Very strong, and so it will be interesting to see where he goes in the draft. Rob, we appreciate it. And up next here on The Blitz, how offended would you be if the Cowboys don't go defense with the first pick? Maybe an offensive tackle?
This segment was brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back to The Blitz. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. We continue our draft preview, and joining us now is Danny Surek. Hello, Danny.
Hi, Bill. It's no surprise that defense is a blaring need for the Cowboys this year. They gave up a franchise-high 473 points last year and finished 31st in the run defense. With the 10th overall pick in the draft, the Cowboys will have options on both sides of the ball. Now, it might sound scary, the thought of taking an offensive player at 10 over a defensive position of need like cornerback or edge. But the draft is all about long-term improvement. This Cowboys offensive line has a history of injury. In fact, 4 of 5 starters missed multiple games last year due to injury. That's why drafting an offensive lineman makes sense for the Cowboys at pick 10. One of the top offensive players the Cowboys should target is offensive tackle Penei Sewell out of Oregon. Sewell has been mocked as the first tackle to go in the draft, and for good reason. His agility and quickness off the snap make him an intriguing prospect. He opted out of 2020, but in 2019 at left tackle, Sewell didn't allow for a single sack. In fact, he only gave up 1 sack in 2 years. He was even awarded the Outland Trophy in 2019, given to the best interior lineman. If Sewell is gone by the time the Cowboys pick, offensive tackle Rashawn Slater out of Northwestern is another viable option to add youthful depth to the offensive line. Slater has experience at both tackle spots as well as guard, making his versatility incredibly appealing for the Cowboys, who faced adversity at every spot on the offensive line in 2020.
I think I'm the best tackle in the draft. You know, have a really high level of confidence about that. But at the same time, I'm a team player. So if the team wants to play me at guard, so be it. I'm all for it. As long as that's what's best for the team, I'm happy to play whatever position they need me at.
Slater's stats are impressive, 0 sacks and just 1 quarterback hit when he last played in 2019, but his athleticism and footwork are equally as remarkable. Drafting an offensive lineman at pick 10 not only protects the Cowboys from injuries, it also helps with long-term quarterback protection and success in the run game. Remember, quarterback Dak Prescott is here through 2024, and running back Ezekiel Elliott is here through 2025 with their new deals. Kyle, you said it before that the Cowboys are relying on hope that both starting tackles, Tyron Smith and Lyle Collins, can make it through a full season when neither of them did last year. It was a neck injury for Smith and a hip for Collins. Where do you stand on the Cowboys drafting an offensive player at the 10th overall pick?
Well, Danny, I stand very high. I think overall we can all agree that hope is not necessarily the right strategy whenever it comes to your offensive line, especially whenever you have so much invested on that side of the football. Whenever it comes to the running back who you're paying $90 million, and Ezekiel Elliott, you've got your 3 receivers who you've invested draft capital in, you've invested traded for. It really has been a ton of investments on that side of the football, and if your offensive line isn't good enough, you're not going to be able to use those the right way.
You know, one of the things, though, when you're talking about the 10th pick in the draft, I believe that you have to project that one of these tackles is going to be your long-term starter, replacing Tyron Smith down the road as your left tackle in this league. So what do you think? How do you think Sewell or Slater would transition?
Sewell is definitely the long-term thought process whenever it comes to left tackle. I think overall, as a prospect, he's just got that higher ceiling. He's even maybe has a higher floor than Slater. I think maybe Slater does have that over Sewell. However, Slater does have those shorter arms. We've talked about it off air before, but whenever it comes to the left tackle position, you need to have a little bit of length. Slater does lack that, which is why he would be a great candidate to swing inside to guard until he's ready to maybe play the left tackle spot.
All right, we continue here on the Blitz in a moment. We had a Keanu Neal sighting here at the Star this past week, and Kyle breaks down his game when we come back.
Welcome back into the Blitz, the Dallas Cowboys report. And of course, offseason moves are continuing here from the Star in Frisco, one of which an official signing. Keanu Neal out of Atlanta originally, or at least under Dan Quinn over the last 4 seasons, will enter his 5th season in the NFL as a part of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm Kyle Youmans, and I'm going to break down Keanu Neal in 4 plays. And this is exactly what I want to talk about in what he brings to the table in Dan Quinn's defense and his system that, 1, he ran in Atlanta, and 2, he's going to get to see a lot of here in Dallas. We're going to start things off with the ability to stop the run. This is a Cowboys defense that was, of course, not very good at stopping the run back in 2020. So you've got Leonard Fournette kind of back here off the screen, Keanu Neal, who will start right there. Basically, this first angle, you'll see just how quickly he is and quick he is in terms of the reads in the backfield. As we'll go ahead and roll the tape, you've got Tom Brady, of course, Mr. MVP, Super Bowl MVP, 7 rings now, hands it off to Leonard Fournette, and that's Keanu Neal, plugging the gap initially and finding his way into the hole. And as we go to this next level, you'll see here, basically, he's going to look this direction. Pretty easy because you've got Leonard Fournette sitting here in the backfield. The only thing I don't necessarily like about this play, if we roll it just a little bit here, is just how quickly he bites. Look how quick that first step was whenever it comes to reading the run. If that ended up being a play action, there's a lot of issue there. Instead, he comes up, makes the play, and an easy run stop for Keanu Neal on Leonard Fournette. We're going to go again to this next one, and this is an even quicker trigger, but instead of stopping the run, this is defending the flats. This is another thing that if Keanu Neal, as a box safety or potentially as an outside linebacker, he's going to have to do in Dan Quinn's system. I'm going to look this direction really quickly, out into the flats. This is where he's going to end up being. He starts right over here, and if we go ahead and roll the tape, Leonard Fournette is going to take a quick little out route here in the flats, and then quickly, it's already recognized, already in the backfield. He doesn't end up making the tackle, and as a linebacker, I think I would rather see him make the tackle here, but it's pretty impressive how quick this first step is. So take a look at Leonard Fournette, take a look at Keanu Neal, and overall, watch how quickly he recognizes. Bang, right there. He's already going, already full speed downhill, finding a way to make the play. He's also going to have to look at pre-snap disguises. Dan Quinn, of course, very well known to run the cover 3 overall, which is a single high safety look. I want to look a lot at pre-snap here. This is where Keanu Neal is at the moment. Looks like a single high safety look, right? Let's go and roll it up a little bit. He's actually going to creep his way up to right around the 32-yard line, and then watch him plant. All the way back, now it's a too high look. You've got both safeties back in this direction, and it's ultimately a disguise that throws things off for the offense. Over the middle is kind of where the weak spot is of that zone. Well, guess what? It was a nice play made underneath, and if not, they had 2 safeties on the top side of the defense. Final thing he's going to have to do, cover tight ends, and he had to do it here against Rob Gronkowski. Gronk right here on the edge of the line of scrimmage. Keanu Neal's on this side, and he's lined up straight across from Gronk. And as we roll the tape, runs a quick little out route here. And overall, a good read, not the best read, but he's in poor position. We'll see that here from this next angle. But really straight up over the top of the line of scrimmage. You see him right here, right on that outside shoulder of Gronkowski. Really puts him at a disadvantage, especially whenever there's no help coming here off the edge. We roll the tape. Gronk throws the out route, but Keanu Neal quick enough to really avoid what was a lot of space right here. If Gronk would have seen this, would have been a lot of space to work with. Instead, Keanu Neal able to push him out to the line of scrimmage. Overall, he's going to see a couple different looks. He could be a safety, he could be a linebacker. He's going to have to do a multitude of things in Dan Quinn's defense, and that's certainly something that Keanu Neal has shown he can do in the past. Can he do it consistently? That is the key. When we come back here on the Blitz, though, what number will Keanu Neal and other Dallas Cowboys be wearing in 2021? That's a big question, and we'll answer it right after this.
The Dallas Cowboys Blitz was brought to you by AT&T, the official 5G innovation partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by the Dallas Cowboys Football Club. Tour AT&T Stadium, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. Tours are available daily. For details, visit attstadium.com/tours.
You can't tell the players without a program. We have a sneak peek at the Cowboys program here. Here are your numbers for the new Cowboys players picked up in free agency. The one that sticks out to me, Keanu Neal, switching from 22 to 42. He is not getting number 22 with the Dallas Cowboys for a good reason. And you can tell the players in the draft without a draft guide too, right, Kyle Youmans?
That's exactly right. And good thing is we've got a draft guide. How about that? The Cowboy Star Magazine draft guide. Of course, plenty of scouting reports, over 350 collegiate prospects, and we are closing in on the draft. You can go and get it at dallascowboys.com/star. It's been a ton of fun to put together and to continue scouting these players and to work with great guys like Kurt Daniels, Nick Eatman, and others that really put together this magazine. It's a great look.
You know what? There's probably a mock draft or two in that draft guide,
No, there
too,
is.
right? Yeah.
Absolutely. There's
probably a Kyle Youmans mock draft in there.
7 rounds, all 10 picks. How about that?
What I hear is from Caden Gates, our producer, is we're going to have a mock draft next week here on the Blitz, just to get you ready for the Blitz.
This.
And on draft night, there's a draft watch party here at the Star in Frisco. It is outdoors, Tostitos Championship Plaza, where you can watch the draft. Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders will be there. There will be so much. That will be the place to be on draft night as the Cowboys make their selection number 10 overall. Or will they make a selection with number 10 overall? We shall see. For Kyle, I'm Bill. We appreciate you joining us for the Blitz, and we will see you again next week.